Relationship advice. Update. Will my boyfriend, 27 male, leave me, 26 female, for my sugar baby past? When I met my boyfriend Tom, not his real name, I had an arrangement with a sugar daddy. I never loved that man and I was upfront with Tom about my relationship. Tom wasn't happy about it, but I made clear to him that I enjoy the attention I was getting from my arrangement and he accepted it. We dated for another half a year and I decided I didn't want Tom to feel bad about it and I broke up with my sugar daddy. We have been together for almost 3 years now. Tom was always very shy, however, recently he became much more confident and outgoing. He told me he is hanging out with some of his friends who is a pickup artist. I read about them and it seems those people are very manipulative and train themselves how to seduce women. I like Tom becoming confident and outgoing, but he also started to say many derogatory things about women who sleep around. I knew that my boyfriend never liked my past arrangement and yesterday we had an argument when he brought it up, and said he should not have dated me. He later apologized, but I had an anxiety attack and I could not sleep at night. I am a pretty girl, but now I feel like I am not enough for Tom. I love him and wanted to marry, but I don't feel secure anymore. Do you think Tom will change his mind? Edit. Thank you all for your replies. I don't think I am an S-worker. I will talk to him in the evening and ask for counseling. Let's read the top advice before the update. Wait, you continued this arrangement whilst dating Tom? Is that right? I told him on the third date and he still dated me. I didn't know I was that hurtful to him. Oh come on now. You even say in your post you broke up with your sugar daddy because you didn't want Tom to feel bad. You can't play the "I didn't know" card. The fact you decided to get a sugar daddy in the first place is between you and your conscience. It's not up to others to judge what two consenting adults agree upon. However, you can't pretend you didn't know how disrespectful it was to keep getting paid for whatever simulacrum of a relationship your sugar daddy and you had agreed upon, 6 months into an actual relationship, just because you liked the attention. It's not to say Tom isn't responsible for accepting to date you in the first place, and his misogynistic tendencies are only on him of course. He let you deepen his insecurities and failed to either communicate with you or stand up for himself. You played with him out of convenience for your ego, but he let you play with him because of a lack of self-respect or self-awareness. If you want things to work between you, I would recommend to seek some professional counseling because there's a lot of resentment/misunderstanding between you two, and it's starting to bubble up in really bad ways. When we dated, I didn't see Tom as a serious boyfriend. Only after a few months I noticed how kind he is. That's why I broke up with that old man. He was never misogynistic before. It's only after he met this pickup artist. I will ask him about counseling. Do you think we can still be together? I'm sorry sweetheart, I don't think he'll get over this. You explained it and didn't hide it, but fairness doesn't come into play in these things. People look at you like an S-worker, my own mother was one, but it is what it is. I'm sorry. I don't think I am an S-worker. My boyfriend never called me S-worker before. While you dated your BF, you meet with another wealthy, older man who paid to bang you? Just for clarification. Sugar daddy was my friend, we didn't just have S. Why are you asking this question? The problem is you're delusional as hell. The sugar daddy is not your friend and you are very much an S-worker. Now for the update. We had a talk yesterday and it went badly. I asked Tom about our last argument and he said he wanted to break up last weekend, but he knew I would be hurt and he could not make himself too. He told me he felt bad about my arrangement, and he always saw it as S-work. When we dated, he really liked me and enjoyed our time together, but now he wants to move on. He was sorry for being silent all those years, because he wasn't confident enough to break up and he thought he could forget about it eventually. I asked him about counseling, but he refused. He said that he read a lot in the past few weeks and made his mind up already. He doesn't think he can move on. When I asked if his friend influenced his decision, he became very defensive. He said that his friend made him a more mature and assertive person. He wants to work on himself before he starts dating. When I asked if we can date in the future, he said he loved me, but he cannot consider me to be a girlfriend anymore. He cannot deal with the fact that I had S with an old man for gifts, while I was conventionally dating him. He's still angry about it and feels jealous. I explained that I was in a bad place in my life, he understands, but he also was in a bad spot many times and he somehow figured things out. I said I love him and ensured that my past sugaring arrangement meant nothing for me, and I wouldn't do it again. He said he values us very much and it felt very cheap that I shared it with other person for money. He said it still hurts him even after 3 years. Tom said I can live in his place for another month, and he will help me to find a new place. I understand why some people may see it as S-work, but for me, this arrangement was just a relationship with benefits. I may be not the smartest girl, but I cannot believe he wants to throw away 3 years of our relationship, and I really feel bad now. He said that I am very pretty and I can date other guys, but I am crying. Other guys I dated were jerks, and the only serious boyfriend I had in my life hates me. I will try to find an older man that can talk to Tom and explain that relationships don't have to be perfect. We still live together, thus he might still change his mind. I am really sorry for the pain I caused him and I don't want us to break up. I accept I was an S-worker and I hurt Tom. That was one off and I never cheated on my boyfriend. It was 2 years ago. How can I help him? Now for the top advice. LOL, so he's mad at you for effing old dudes for money, and your idea is to have some old dude tell him it's okay? May not work out. It was 3 years ago and we didn't talk about it in the last 2 years. I don't know why he even brought that up. He clearly was never okay with it, and after the honeymoon phase faded away, suddenly this arrangement doesn't sound acceptable to him anymore. He was okay before he met those awful fiends. I don't really know what can I do. He was not okay before. He just wasn't confident enough to tell you he wasn't. You're the one that couldn't see how much it actually bothered him because you didn't want to see, because you were enjoying the gifts you were receiving. You were very selfish and self-centered but refused to acknowledge it, because you got what you wanted. At any point did you ever think about how you would feel if Tom was tucking someone else? It's over, I'm sorry to tell you. He has moved on from the sounds of it. I'd go after someone else and try to move on as well. I would advise OP to try to find and invest her time in a very progressive potential partner. A history of S-work is a deal breaker for the vast majority of people. Maybe set up an old profile that puts her experience as an S-worker right out in the open, to screen out all the people who will have a problem with it. Yes, you are right. You are not the smartest girl, getting an old dude to talk to him is also not the smartest move. What do you expect him to say to him? This would drive Tom just further away from you. He speaks to his dad every few days. He also has an uncle. I want someone older to speak to him. I really love Tom. Just because he talks to his dad and uncle, that doesn't mean an old dude will change his mind. I get that you still have feelings for him and it must suck dealing with the breakup, but you should think through this. He wasn't okay that you were having S with old men, and you want an old man to convince him to take you back. Do you see the problem there? I'm sorry, but there is nothing you can do. Now for the last story. My 37 male girlfriend, 36 female, is acting distant after a partying all weekend without me. Is it over? My girlfriend and I have been in a relationship for around 10 months, and it has been amazing. It is our second try at a relationship, as we were once together for 4 years. We have a child who is 9 years old, and we were separated for about 6 years. Our first breakup was more circumstantial than anything else. We still loved each other, but neither of us were really in the right headspace to support each other at the time. In the 6 years we were apart, we both had other relationships, good and bad, we both grew, and we both went through some pretty big life changes. We got to spend some time together over the holidays last year, and eventually found ourselves mutually falling in love again. Until recently, the relationship was just wonderful. It felt like we weren't just building a relationship, but redefining our family as something strong and unshakable, bound by what seemed to be an unquestionable love for each other. But then, things started to change. About a month ago, my girlfriend mentioned that I needed to keep a certain weekend clear because she was going to a friend's birthday party, and I would need to take kiddo that weekend. I didn't think too much about it at the time, but it did seem strange. Normally on such an occasion, we would arrange for kiddo to spend the weekend at grandma's, so we could go together. I guess I just figured my girlfriend wanted to go alone for whatever reason, or that maybe I wasn't specifically invited. No drama. Over the next few weeks, things seemed to get strained. We got drunk one night, and ended up having a pretty sore discussion about some residuals from our last relationship. It was a pretty big deal, but I guess I felt that the relationship was on really stable ground, and that we would be able to work through anything. About 2 weeks ago, I noticed a big change in our communication. She started responding differently to text messages, and our phone calls started having this weird formal tone to them. So, the weekend of the party comes around. The plan was that I would pick up kiddo after school on Friday, then we'd have family time together on Saturday. So, I text her on Saturday to check in, and get no reply. I tried calling a couple times, and she finally calls me back at around 3 p.m. I could hear music in the background, and she basically just said everything's fine, still partying, see you tomorrow, and hung up. On Sunday evening I went over to drop kiddo back. I was half expecting to stay the night, but when I got there, it felt as though she didn't really want me around, like I was wearing out my welcome. I decided to go home. On Monday afternoon, I dropped by her house, mostly to see if there were any chores I could help out with, but also to just spend some time with my girlfriend. She was a little bit distant, but I did end up staying the night, mostly because I didn't have to work Tuesday, and could help get kiddo off to school. We went to bed early, but didn't really talk much. We did end up having us, but it was really strange. Usually, our life is pretty outstanding, and even quickies tend to have this crazy profound depth to them. Often turns into 6 or more hours of passionate lovemaking. But not on Monday. It had this really strange vibe of just going through the motions, and it almost felt as if she was doing me a favor. It really wasn't the sort of reconnect that I'd been hoping for. She came eventually, but I gave up after 25 minutes or so. Then she rolled away from me, and went to sleep. The next morning, I let my girlfriend sleep in. After returning from taking kiddo to school, I crossed paths with my girlfriend's housemate, who I hadn't seen in a little while. She was pissed. Apparently, my girlfriend brought a few people home from the party, and had continued partying on until the wee hours of Sunday morning, which really messed with her housemate's sleep schedule. She didn't really say much more, but I did get the feeling she had a lot more to say. Eventually, she went to work and I went back to bed for a mid-morning nap. Maybe half an hour later, I hear my girlfriend up and about, making coffee. I get up and head out to give her a morning hug, and as I walk into the kitchen, she turns abruptly to face away from me. A few seconds pass while I try to weigh up the situation, and I notice she's crying. I open my arms and move towards her, wanting to give her a big hug, but she just totally recoils, and gestures at me to go away. I asked if I'd done something wrong. She said I hadn't, and that she just needed some time alone. She poured herself a coffee and went back to bed, closing the bedroom door behind her, which I took as my cue to exit. I didn't hear from her again until tonight. She sent me a text message saying that she feels there is a major disconnect between us. That if I come over for lunch next weekend, we can talk about it then, but please don't call. I really don't know what to think of this situation. Is my girlfriend about to dump me? Is there something I missed, or didn't see coming? Now for the top advice. Sounds like whatever she did over the weekend was a relationship ender. I'd prepare to move on. Sorry pal. Agreed. And be done this time. If it didn't work the second time. Sorry OP. Absolutely. If you have the kind of relationship with the housemate that she'd give you a heads up as to what she thinks might have happened, then it might help when it comes to the big chat with your girlfriend. Sigh. It's not complicated. By her behavior before the party, where she was growing distant, it's fairly obvious she had something planned, and it was something she specifically wanted to do without you. Her behavior indicates it's something that emotionally put a wedge between her and you, and she wanted that. Based on her reaction after the party, she went through with what she had desired. It's something she is ashamed of, and it impacts both of you. Looks like she had planned a hookup at that party and was investing herself in it, distancing herself from you in the process. She went through with it at the party, but it wasn't what she expected. I wouldn't be surprised if she was hoping her hookup was her shot at getting with someone else, and it fell through. Whatever the end result, it didn't work out as she expected, and now she realized she has destroyed her relationship with you and is trying to decide how to handle it. She's probably debating if she should tell you and how much she should tell you, and how she might be able to salvage the train wreck she just created. Whatever it is, she is hiding the truth and has been lying to you about the party. Sigh. That's basically what I feel. We need an update, OP. We're worried for you and want to know how you're going to beat this crap. Beat this crap for us, and most importantly, for your kid. I will try to keep you updated. Thanks. And that's it for this video guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. Turn the notification on to get updated on my latest posts. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day everyone.